Good morning. It's Jack Markell, the Governor of Delaware, on another of the Breakfasts with the Governor. This gives me an opportunity to get out and talk to business people, civic leaders, students, teachers, others throughout the state of Delaware. And this morning is a great opportunity. We're at one of my favorite restaurants, Eclipse, right here in Wilmington. And we've got two guests this morning. One is Carl Georigi, who owns Eclipse, as well as Capers and Lemons, which is another terrific restaurant, and a steakhouse, which is called
Red Fire Grill.
Red Fire Grill. All three great restaurants. I've been to all three. And also with Ann Day, who owns Sugarfoot, with two locations in Wilmington, one on Lincoln and the other in the Nemours building. And both of them also do catering under the names of Sugarfoot and the Platinum Dining Group. And so please check them out. But two great restaurateurs and two terrific business owners, and really an opportunity for us today to have a very informal conversation as we're having breakfast here at Eclipse. So please eat as we're talking. Carl, since we're at your place, let's start with you. But I really just want to get a sense of your businesses, how you got started, some of the challenges, things like that. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, we are the typical American business that started small and continues to grow. Eclipse Bistro was founded in 1996, and it was at that time literally a mom and pop store. I was in the kitchen and my wife was out front, and I think our first week's payroll had 7 employees, and was a couple $1,000s, and 16 years later we're up to 142 employees and a significantly higher payroll. So we've just continued to grow over the years, tried to make wise, smart decisions, all doing business in all the restaurants doing business in Delaware. And we'll continue to grow as much as the economy and the local residents allow us to.
And did you know as a kid that you wanted to go in the restaurant business?
I knew probably by the time I was 17.
Okay.
I was the kid who did just about everything as a young teen. I mowed your lawn, I shoveled your snow, I started your car for you if you couldn't get it started. So I was always very active, I was always very busy. And my first job was with Hyatt Hotels as a busboy, and as it were, it brought me in and sucked me in, if you will, for 6 years, and I never looked back. So. Did
you grow up here, Delaware?
I grew up in Pennsauken, New Jersey.
Okay.
Which is about 35 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And a job opportunity brought me to Delaware as I was older.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so.
Ann, how about you? Tell us about your business and how you got started.
I fell into the restaurant business in the beach, Delaware beaches, during University of Delaware to make extra money during college, and started as a hostess and a waitress, and didn't actually fall into cooking until later, and then went to culinary school in 1990 to 92 in San Francisco, and then came back to Wilmington and fell into catering naturally during culinary school, so just to make extra money on weekends. And then I came back to Wilmington, didn't really know what I wanted to do, and then started catering for my friends and my parents' friends. And it sort of just happened naturally. And then I opened Sugarfoot on North Lincoln 12 years ago. And then the Nemours Sugarfoot we opened 9 years this fall.
And how would you describe the concept of Sugarfoot?
It started downtown. The Nemours building is really a lunch spot. It closes at 3 every day. The North Lincoln is definitely the catering kitchen, and a lot of our regular clients locally, I think, come for lunch. And that's sort of the heart and soul that we started. And it started as a gourmet shop takeout, but we really grew into a catering business. I'm better at catering than I am running the restaurants, probably.
And do you have a type of food that you especially like to focus on?
I like local, sort of simple, definitely seasonal. Use the farmers markets and stuff in the summer, and usually things I grew up on. My grandmother's crab cakes and chicken salad, and I like a little twist, but nothing too crazy.
Okay.
So you identify your food, and very American classic
And how many
regional.
employees do you have?
We have about 20, 25, and then we have a list we pull from catering.
Okay. So we were talking a little bit earlier before we went on camera about sort of the challenges right now of running a business, and give me a sense of whether you feel like the economy is coming back, whether it's not coming back, and just sort of your sense of how business is generally.
I think we're starting to walk again. I think we're slightly past the crawl, and I think from what I've seen in my restaurants, I think consumer confidence is starting to build. I mean, there's still some very real issues that affect us, at the state level and certainly nationwide. But in general, in speaking with my guests one-on-one on a daily basis, they're feeling positive. We're seeing our revenue increase. 2008 was a difficult year. It's tough being a small business owner in any economic environment. We wear many hats. We make many decisions on any given day. And a lot of those decisions oftentimes affect many people. And it's a challenge. And when the economy slips, it becomes even more difficult. But at our level, we just tried to really focus on our product, tried to really focus on the customer experience. And my message to my employees on a regular basis is essentially to make sure every guest leaves happy.
Did you have to bring the price down at all of any of your? Did you have to sort of downscale in order to get through the more trying times when people had less money to spend?
That's a rather interesting point. I think our restaurants have been marked by value from their inception. I think I've always tried to place a certain emphasis on providing the guests with a good value, and I think that is one of the things that helped us as the economy started to slip and headed towards a downturn. I think when consumers become tight with their money and their disposable income, if you will, shrinks a little bit, and they have to make very real decisions on how they want to spend it, when they consider a restaurant, they're going to consider what the value would be.
Yep.
And we've tried to position all of our restaurants from a value standpoint. So physically, did we lower our prices? We didn't, because our prices were always
Attractive to begin with.
Always, yes.
Yeah. By the way, you guys should eat. I'm the only one eating. My plate's going to be empty. How about you, Ann? Talk a little bit about the challenges.
We didn't. I think you worked as hard during this the economic difficulties, but you didn't make as much money. So I think people were, in my sense, catering was definitely, the numbers were lower. So instead of having 200 people for a party, people were having 100. So they weren't spending as much money, and you tend to work as hard. We didn't lower our prices, but we didn't. A lot of the higher end, food items weren't as in demand for catering or even at lunch. But I think if you stick to your quality and you walk that balance during the hard times, you keep your quality up and you don't overcharge. And service, I think, plays a huge part of the whole. If you have good service and your employees are attentive to your customers, which all your restaurants are always wonderful at that.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And good food, and I think you pick and choose, so you might not go out for dinner twice a week, you might go once, but you're going to go somewhere with good quality food, and we go to all your Carl's restaurants and with my kids. My daughter's new favorite is the new steakhouse right by her. But I think, for family, what you can afford, I think higher end catering and higher end restaurants really got hit hard, and especially with corporate catering has definitely started to come back, which is a great sign.
Good. Yeah.
One of the things that we have always done, but I think we were even more sensitive to it in the last couple of years, is really recognizing our guests on an even more regular basis in terms of maybe buying their lunch one day or comping a bottle of wine as a small thank you that says, we recognize you're supporting us. We really appreciate that. And here's a small token to kind of show our gratitude. And when we took a good hard look at how we were spending our money and where our expenses were in terms of advertising, marketing dollars, we really zoned in on what marketing, what advertising we felt worked and what was really fluff. And the fluff we converted to dining dollars. and that was essentially money that we gave to the managers to use at their discretion.
Oh, interesting.
For guests who are what we would consider regular, and that's a broad term.
Yep.
We have guests that are in once a week, twice a week. We have guests that are in once a month, any of which those fall into a regular term. So we would try to, on a more consistent basis, recognize them. And to me, that is a lot more beneficial and goes a lot further than maybe just discounting something or you know, running ads that offer those types of discounts.
And how do you get the word out? Obviously, word of mouth from your current customers is the best way. But I mean, is there much more?
Delaware is a word of mouth state, and like when I cater a party for somebody, my very best advertising is somebody that actually went and ate the food and they know what they're getting or the experience is going to be like. That's, you know, Delaware is a small state, so people really like to talk, and they love to talk about restaurants and food, and it's your best word, you know, your best advertising, I think.
I think what the great thing that what Ann does at Sugarfoot, and probably really benefits her well, is she has an open playlist. She pretty much can work with any guest to customize any menu to see and fill any need. So whether it's they have their niche and things that they do exceptionally well, but whether it's a barbecue in the backyard or a high-end, really special entertaining dinner, I've seen the versatility in what she can do.
You guys should hire each other to do your advertising. This is
well, I'm a big fan of what they do. I think they get the customer experience right. I think that's so important in our business, and that was something that I learned very early on, that that interaction at the front door from the moment the guest walks in, throughout the events of the evening or the daytime, if it's a lunch service, until they walk out that door, is so important. And I've been to Ann's places, both of them, and she's actually done a few catering events for me in the past that were employee related when I didn't want to put any of our employees' work, and has just done it exceptionally well. So. I'm cheap labor if you need somebody to advertise and market for you.
Doing it very well, I must say. Talk to me a little bit, when you were telling me earlier when you had Dome up in Hockessin for a long time, which is a great restaurant, and then you decided to replace that with Red Fire? Red Fire Grill, or just Red Fire?
Either way.
Okay.
As long as you're saying it.
Okay, which I was telling you, we went to right after it opened. It was great.